Welcome to the Daily Hope in our current series on great verses from the Bible. I'm Chuck Butler, and I oversee two distinct ministries, the arts and our apologetics ministry called Mars Hill. The great verse for today for our consideration is Ruth, chapter 1 and verse 16. Ruth replied to her mother-in-law here. She said, "Don't urge me to leave you or to turn back from you. For where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God." In this short book of the Bible, which, by the way, follows immediately after the book of Judges, Ruth is a young, recently widowed Gentile woman who, after personal and family tragedy strikes, chooses to live away from her original home, country, language, customs, resources, traditions, known neighbors, friends, and religion. She began to eventually live among Hebrews and even married a Hebrew, her mother-in-law's next of kin, Boaz. Some quick observations about Ruth and the book named after her. Ruth's mother-in-law, Naomi, lost her husband, and later both of her married sons also died. The one son's wife, and now widow, Orpah, chose to remain in Moab. But Ruth, she insisted on remaining with and following her mother-in-law, Naomi, back to Bethlehem. Some facts and attributes regarding Ruth that we can learn from this great verse and book are these. Ruth respected her elders, and that was mingled with no generational bias whatsoever. All transpired during a time when things seemed hopeless and fruitless from a human standpoint in Ruth's life. God was working behind the scenes to protect and redeem those who stayed faithful to him. Ruth demonstrated a kind of self-governance or self-control, plus stewardship, and she showed us the way of love, the key to living well. Her primary concern was not for her own well-being, but rather for the well-being of Naomi, of others. She also showed us the impact that our personal choices can actually make regarding our future. Ruth follows what God has caused to happen in her life. An interesting side note, in traditional Judaism, the book of Ruth is read during the Feast of the New Fruits, or Pentecost, which celebrates the grain harvest. Even after Ruth's beautiful commitment to follow Naomi in verse 16, and then literally returning to Bethlehem with her, Naomi, whose name means pleasant, requests that she be called Mara, or bitter. She publicly proclaims that God has dealt bitterly with me, testified against me, and afflicted me. But the women of the village encourage her to see what God has done and be thankful. So today, please realize that we need each other to lift each other up. Despite Ruth's pledge and spoken desire to Naomi, to be with her in her home, with her people, and worshiping her God, Naomi was still grieving and was still unable to see God's hand upon her afresh, and his advocating for her anew. There are days that even when we experience sacrificial love and verbal commitments from others, there can still come a sense that God wishes to deal harshly with us, or already has in some way. Naomi felt that. She was bitter, empty, testified against, and afflicted. But like the ladies in Bethlehem, we should not ignore or push people away. We should look for opportunities and be available to one another afresh, today, at coffee or tea with someone, on the phone, jotting down for someone a very simple handwritten note, for one who may very well be feeling empty or judged today, or perhaps afflicted in some unique way that wearies them in their unspoken circumstances. Maybe you could start by saying, today I just wanted you to know that where you go, I will go. But dear one, let's go together somewhere and revisit the God who can bring forth beauty from ashes, life after loss, and in a way that is more glorious and unimaginable than any human can comprehend. God bless you as you reach out to someone today.